Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to PSGL. We are here for PS tier. It is F2, of course, and we take in round 2 of the championship as we take in the Miami Grand Prix from the Miami Autodrome. My name is James Head, going to be taking you through the stream, as always, on a Monday night. And joining me in the commentary box, face reveal, everyone, it is Mr. Evan Dalton. Evan, how you doing?
Hello everybody, welcome along to PSGL F2. We're here after a dramatic Austrian Grand Prix. Trust me, it's a lot more dramatic than first sight. We're here around the Miami Autodrome for what's going to be a really interesting race. None of these drivers have probably did a competitive race around Miami, and we're in for an absolute show this evening.
We are indeed, and it should be very good. Indeed, I can see qualifying's already beginning, so we better get on with things in terms of the actual lineup onto the stream.
Yes.
Driver standings first, Ray leading the way on 16 points, Ricky in second on 12, and Arocca in third on 10 points. That is how the land lies, of course. Black Box in fourth, finished there in fourth on 8 points, Tomasetto in fifth on 6, Devon in 6th on 5, Axe in 7th on 4, Ron in 8th on 3, Now up in 9th on 2, and Alberto Vare in 10th on 1. Now let's just address the absolute elephant in the room. You can see that Dino has been banned for the last 6 races or so, and this was because the stewards felt it was absolutely necessary for him to use Slipstream when Ray obviously was leading the race, and obviously the stewards have found him guilty, and that is why, therefore, he has been banned for 6 races. And Evan, just before we get into qualifying, that Dino ban sets him back quite a lot in terms of the season. I believe, though, one of his OP drivers, Firefox, might be taking over in the Mercedes.
Yeah, it's a really dramatic start to the season for Mercedes. As you can see, he's banned until the Brazilian Grand Prix. And the controversial thing about that is, of course, it is really a penalty to set a marker, so nobody else does it. But yeah, it's a dramatic start, and it's the real elephant in the room heading into this race. There was no complaints from Dino about it, which means he probably has accepted the penalty. Well, no public complaints about it, which means he probably has accepted the penalty, but it is the real talking point going into this round, of course. And 2 teams managed to score double points in Austria. That was Haas and Williams, the only 2 teams to score double points in round 1, meaning it's still all to play for. There is no early heavy hitters. We thought the Mercedes guys will be the ones with the pace, but now, of course, one of their main runners is gone until the Brazilian Grand Prix.
Yeah, he is indeed. I mean, people in the chat are saying that he shouldn't have been banned. I totally get that, to be honest. Every league has different rules, however. Yeah, every league has different rules, and I think we can see it from both sides, whether or not he could have been banned or should have been banned. The argument will rage on, I'm sure, and hopefully you do not put in the comment section any nasty comments or anything. That's not what we're about here in F2, and hopefully you're going to be seeing some on-track action very soon indeed. Let me run you through the constructor standings very quickly before we get to the on-track action. Mercedes leading the way on 16 points, Haas in second on 14, McLaren in third on 12, Williams fourth on 8, Alfa Romeo also in fourth on 8, and then it's Red Bull in 6th on 5, AlphaTauri in 7th on 3, and Aston Martin in 8th and 1, with Ferrari and Alpine yet to pick up any points so far. Mercedes currently leading the way in terms of the constructors standings, Evan. Haas there in second, McLaren in third. Should be quite interesting going into Miami.
It definitely should be interesting going into Miami because, well, it's still only round 2 of an 11-round season. There is absolutely a lot to play for, but Mercedes leading the way after round number 1. But again, as we said, Dino with the ban, it'll be an interesting one. I'm not sure whether they'll get a permanent reserve driver in or whether it'll just be different guys every week. But it is OP Stefano who was in the car this evening, the OP man who finished second in PSGL F5 last season. He's a very quick driver, but it is a disappointment to see Dino picking up that early ban. But the stewards have to do what they have to do. We're just commentators and you're just fans. We just got to accept it, unfortunately. But it should be a great race around Miami this evening.
It should be indeed. Let's go on board then with Mateus on the run down in towards turn number 1. The LFR man, of course, in the Aston Martins. He comes down in towards turn number 1. And then through this very twisting snake section through 2, through 3, and then through the right-hander again of turn number 4. And then in towards the final corners in this first sector. This is the S section that I'm on about. Turn 5. Then through the right-hander of turn number 6. And then through the left-hander again of turn number 7. And Mateus absolutely attacking that, to be honest. Now through the left-hander of turn number 8. And on to the first pit straight, of course, where the DRS is going to get enabled down this pit straight. Of course, there's 3 chances to get the DRS. One down the start from the straight, one down this straight. We're going on down in towards turn number 10, and then one down in towards turn 17 down the full back straight. Of course, they call this Alligator Alley in the Sunshine State here in Miami, in Florida, and Mateus is looking to try and provide some sunshine in terms of his performance here tonight. Coming through the very twisting section now in this middle sector. Again, a Herman Tilke design track through the chicane, and then to the left-hander of turn number 16. Mateus really attacking on this lap so far. We'll see in this middle sector split what he's like, and it's a 101.8 in the middle sector from Mateus, and he's on the run now down in towards this very, very long run in towards turn 17. Pretty much a mile straight, near like Delhi, of course, back in the day in the 2010s, where, of course, the back straight was quite long there. Mateus through the left-hander of turn 17, through the left-hander of 18, and then through the right-hander of turn 19, adjacent to the Hard Rock Stadium on the right-hand side of Mateus across the line. 127 flat across the line. Not a bad lap to start the night at all, but Ricky goes quickest for the 26.6.
Not a bad banker at all, that is, for either of the guys who've set a lap so far. There is Jax and Will Murdoch setting a lap as well as Tomasetto. So not some bad bankers going. You just want to get a banker on the board around every street circuit. There is balls, as you can tell. That's the most obvious statement you'll hear this evening. But Frankie has gone to second. The most important thing is getting a lap in, as Ray has gone to fourth, and all the guys seem to be getting that early lap in. There is not too many folks off the pace here. This is looking good so far for an interesting session.
It is indeed. Now, by the way, Crash coming through the chicane section. He's got left side end plate damage on the car. Of course, he was up there in terms of the pace last week in Austria in his debut race, of course, here in PSGL F2. Ricky the Lad on top, Frankie there in second, Will Murdoch there in third. Will does show glimpses of pace around here. 26.8 from the Alpine man there in third. Jake Marsh is on a lap. He's coming through the final couple of corners now. No, we had a few fans last week for Jake Marsh. He goes 14th in a minute, 27.3. But I tell you what, Evan, he's only 7/10 of a pace, 7/10 off the pace at this stage, as I think we've seen an improvement there from Devon going fourth.
Yeah, Jake had a lot of issues last week with his wheel or with his PlayStation. Can't really remember which one, but he was having some issues. So Austria was not his true pace at all. He is hopefully going to be up there in Miami. He's a quick driver, but 7/10 off the pace. It's not bad. Around Miami, it's a tricky circuit to nail down, and it's not like Austria where it is 1 minute and 4 lap times. It is 126. There's more room to gain time, and there is more room for errors. Devon was off the pace in qualifying, but he's up there in fourth. Not a bad lap so far by him.
Yeah, not a bad lap at all from him, and we're nearly 6 minutes gone in qualifying. It is Ricky out on top, Frankie in second, Will Murdoch there in third. Now back on a lap, by the way. Didn't pick up actually any front wing damage on that car. In the Williams, of course, he's now through the left-hander of turn 13, and then through the chicane of this very tricky chicane of 14, 15, and then through the left-hander again at turn 16. He looks up there, to be honest, in terms of the middle sector. Well, it's a 103 flat in the middle sector. Not that quick so far. I know now Will Can set a very good lap time around here, as the Williams man now comes down the straight in towards turn number 17, and then of course in towards 18 and 19. You can see him weaving. Maybe he's going to actually try to get into pit lane here, because he is running low fuel there on the bottom right hand side of your screen. 6 minutes gone in qualifying. Ricky out on top, Frankie second, Will Murdoch in third. That little wiggle, I think he knew he was on board. We were on board with him there, and now obviously weaved, and therefore he came back in the pit lane. So he stays 19th now. Black box, however, on a lap down in towards turn number 1.
Yeah, through turn number 1, black box on a lap. Let's stick on board with him through the 5.412 kilometre circuit of the Miami Autodrome. Of course, they had 36 simulated versions before this one. This is the one they stuck with. Some drivers will think they did a bad job. Some drivers will love it. But through the fast S section, this corner really difficult to run wide. That is not allowed by the PSGL steward, and especially in this tier because the head steward does race scripting in the Red Bull. Down the back straight, first DRS chance. Down here is great for some round the outside overtakes because it does turn into a slow right-hander section. But as Black Box heads down, heading in towards turn number 11, you got to pile on the brakes just after the 100-metre board, downshift to third gear, short shift back up to fourth gear, and get the car hooked in nicely as close to that wall as you possibly can. This corner here, really difficult one. Bounce your car over the curbs. Such an unnatural thing to do in these modern day Formula 1 cars, but you got to do it to get the best line, nail the traction out of the slow left-hander under the Miami Freeway Bridge. Down towards the final braking zone. It's a tricky one. There's a car weaving in front of Black Box here. Burning all that battery possible. Brake just under the Aramco sign. Get the car hooked in nicely. A lot of drivers use third gear through that corner. Black Box going one lower onto second gear. Traction out through the quick left-right chicane. Run along the curb, one close to the wall. And then that's a lap of Miami. It's a 127.111 for Black Box. Not a bad attempt at all.
All the ones for Black Box. Is he going to go first position, though, at the end of qualifying? Who knows about Black Box? I can see there's Simone Ferry in the comment section saying, believe in Black Box. Yeah, we do believe in Black Box. We also believe in this man here, Nuth, towards the line. And it's a 27 flat from Nuth. Not a bad lap there at all by the German. Of course, he was complaining about the formation lap. Formation lap, I believe, is going to be turned off, if I'm not mistaken, for tonight. And there's also going to be a little bit of a break in between qualifying and the race, just so we don't have that audio bug, and that might mean, of course, that formation that might be on. We'll update you, though, as we go through the session. Mateus is back on a lap as well, 29.999. All the 9s for Mateus in the first sector, just a sub 30-second sector from him as he now comes to the left-hand return number 11, and then in towards this very tricky chicane through turns 12, 13, and then in towards the chicane turns 14 and 15, and Mateus now absolutely laying it all on the line. Coming through the chicane, now through the left-hand return number 16, just catches the curb slightly, but it's a 101.7 in the middle sector. He's looking good to try and improve on his lap with a 2/10 improvement so far in this middle sector. On the run down now in towards turn number 17. Ricky out on top, Frankie second, Will Murdoch there in third. There's a yellow flag in sector 3. I think it's just a Haas backing up. That might be Axade just ahead of him. Actually out on track to Mateus, and that comes through the final couple of corners. Through 17, through the left-hander of 18, and then through the right-hander of turn number 19. Ricky out on top, Frankie second. Where's Mateus going though with this lap though? He goes 1,000 behind Frankie and he goes third. Not a bad lap there at all from the LFO man.
Not a bad attempt at all by the Aston Martin, but he may be pushed back down further on the second row, because here comes Will Murdoch. He's coming across the start-finish line now. What can he say? He goes onto the front row of the grid and just behind Ricky, who has invalidated his second attempt, so there'll be no improvement for Ricky in this minute anyways, as he heads back into the Miami pit lane. Devon on another attempt as he heads through the fast S section. We'll see what he can do here, mounting a lot of curb. That car is very rigid going over the curbs. A good setup on board the Oracle Red Bull Racing car of Devon.
Yeah, definitely so. If you're wondering what I was going, after was Ray in second position, 26.690. Not a bad lap at all from him. As Thomas Seto was crashed through turn 18. Is that going into the pit lane?
I believe that's either traction out of the final corner or going into the pit lane. Stefano's just gone fourth. Mercedes' pace, despite getting a driver banned, has not dipped, but I can't quite tell if that's going into the pit lane or if that is
left-hand side
last corner crash. Yeah, it's left-hand side, which would make me think it's the traction. It's easily done, and it is really easy to do in the race. I, unfortunately, did it last night in PSGL, but it is really easy to do in the race on the old tyres. It's one thing you got to keep an eye on. There will be a few guys making mistakes. It's a brand new circuit, and it is a tricky one at that. But there's some good lap times going in here near the top. Krypton is running well. He's currently 7. Keep an eye on him. He's doesn't look like to be improving on this lap time. Seems like he's backed off, but 7 positions, much better than last week for the Red Bull.
Air to the Max, by the way, in the chat saying there's actually someone driving here, or what are we watching? You're watching PSF2, myself and Evan Dalton taking to the action here on the PS tier, and it's currently Rookie out on top, Rain second, Will Murdoch in third. Frankie, though, was on the good lap. He's backed off, though, in this middle sector. In fact, I'm on board with the wrong driver. Now Frankie's coming through the final couple of quarters, and yeah, he's actually backed off this lap. He's coming back in the pit lane, but it's Ricky out on top, Rain second, Will Murdoch there in third. You're in very capable hands at this stage. Krypton, I think, is on a lap down and towards the final couple of corners through turn 17 and then in towards turns 18 and 19. But I think, again, he's another one that's backed off on this lap so far. Of course, Louis DuPont.
Improving big time here. He could go to the top with this lap. He's improved by 4. No, it's a lock up into the final corner, and that could really cost him here. He was improving by almost 0.5 of a second and was going to shoot himself up possibly onto the front row. Could still go close. No, that lock up really cost him. And that is an 11th place start. As it stands, of course, 11th place isn't as good as it was on the last game because everybody gets through a tyre choice going into the race. The medium-hard strategy is the ideal one in terms of if there's an early safety car, but the hard-medium is technically quicker. Jake Marsh has gone to 12th for Ferrari, but his teammate Jack's gone to 15. Still 2 times left to go on the board. That is Firefox, and now our Firefox entering the last sector now.
He is. He's just entered the middle sector, and he's looking quite good, actually, on this lap. Firefox, who showed a bit of pace, of course, in Austria last week in PSF2. But it's Ricky, though, out on top, Ray in second, Will Murdoch there in third. Very close, though. 0.5 of a second, covering the top 18 drivers. Not a bad qualifying session at all. We normally allude to Austria being one of the closest. Miami might just be out in it in terms of the closest qualifying here. And add Firefox into that. Now it's 19 drivers within 0.5 of a second of each other. Not a bad lap there at all from Firefox. He goes 19th.
Unbelievable how close these guys can get. Literally, if you take a corner a split of a second quicker, you could jump yourself 10 positions at this point. That is how close it is. And a man looking to jump positions is FER Newt of Alpine. The only positive coming out of Austria was the fastest lap, but even at that, he didn't get the point for it. The point for that went to second placeman Ricky. Ricky did everything in Austria apart from take the win. He got the fastest lap, got pole, and did all he could. But here comes Newt. He's entering the final braking zone of turn 17. We'll see what he can do. Across the line, the Alpine one. This is not looking too shabby of a run so far. It's 5th place. That's not a bad job at all for Newt. The man new to the tier. Not a bad attempt at all, and there's a couple of surprising ones as Ricky. Oh, he's just set a new margin. That is an incredible lap time compared to how close we've been getting, and he did that last week in Austria. Pulled a lap out of nowhere.
He did indeed, and he's looking top at this moment in time. Will Murdoch, though, is responding. Purple first sector. 600 up in the first sector. Will, I know, has got time in the middle sector of the game as well from his previous laps. We'll go on board with the Alpine on the run now down in towards turn number 11. This very tricky section of the track, of course, a Herman Tilke design track, as most tracks, of course, are these days in PSGL, I was going to say, in F1, but also in PSGL and on the F1 games as well. Yeah, exactly. Will Murdoch coming to the left-hander, 14 to 15, and that's commitment through the chicane. Too much commitment, nearly just oversteers slightly, and it's still a 101.6 in the middle sector. He's lost a 10th of a second. I have a feeling he's now going to back off this lap, if I'm not mistaken as well. But the Alpine absolutely pushed it to the limits there. He's still going for it. He's on the run down in towards turn number 17. So we'll see on board with Will what he can do. Very quick, of course, he didn't actually appear last week, but last season in PSGL F3, he was very quick, but he's coming back in the pit lane. Is he going to get another run in, though?
He should do. He should get in and out if he does it instantly, if he's really quick with it. But there's only 3 minutes to go in this session. It has been really exciting, but Ricky, I don't think Ricky's going to get another run in. He's coming into the pit lane a bit later than Will Murdoch. I think that might be the final attempt for Ricky, but of course, he took pole last week without improving on his final run. We've seen a lot of drivers make mistakes on their final attempt in the Red Bull ring. That's why there's a few guys out on track earlier. Devon is currently improving very marginally on his lap. He's 11th place. He's trying to get the lap in much earlier than everyone else. Has a lot of ERS coming at this point in the lap. Might have been saving it. He's improving almost by a 10.5 as he comes down towards the final braking zone.
He does indeed. Nicolesos, by the way, went second. It's now McLaren 1-2. The papaya-coloured cars rejoice in terms of the front row of the grid so far in this qualifying session. Of course, as we go to the end of qualifying, we'll take a slight break and a slight pause, and we'll get some sponsors, of course, from our advertisements that we got for you here tonight. Devon, though, goes third, 26.6. Yeah,
that's
really
an incredible lap by Devon. He has not been up there in either of the qualifying sessions so far this season, but he's put himself up there. At the moment, that matters, the final qualifying laps, and we'll see what his teammate Krypton can do. The 2 Red Bulls are out early. Krypton is improving, but very slow through the chicane. Yeah, backed off here has Krypton. He's saving the battery, going to go for a final run. A lot of outlaps here. We're going to have a qualifying shootout once again as Nicosos. He was pushing, he's backed off now, and he is out of fuel, so that will be the second McLaren's qualifying session done.
Yeah, he improved up to second, and that's why he's backed off his lap. He obviously can't feel that he can do much. Axe, by the way, is coming through the middle sector, and that was purple, apparently, in the middle sector, according to me. We haven't reached the middle sector split yet, so I think the game might be lying to me there slightly. Coming to the left-hander, though, of turn number 16, and Axe is on fire, I've got to say, on this lap. What a 1.5 in the middle sector. Watch out for this one. Axe could be putting it towards...
monster.
It is a monster, and he's coming now down in towards turn 17. What can he do, though? Can the Hassman go quickest? Ricky out on top, Nicole's in second. Is he looking to split the papaya-coloured cars of the McLaren team? Axe through the final couple of corners, through turn 15, through turn 16, turn 16, 17, 18, then to the right hand of 19 to the line, and he goes second, 26.4. Not a bad lap at all from Axe. Ray is back on a lap as well. He's coming through towards the first sector split, so we'll go on board with him shortly, and he looks like he might be on for pole as well.
No, he's not. We haven't reached the sector split yet. The game lying to us once again. But he was a very quick through the S's. That is Devon's session done. Ricky, we're waiting to go for a lap. He's backed off on the back straight. Will he actually make the timing? I think he might just do it. But Ray is on a run here. He won last week in the Red Bull Ring. He's looking to take a second consecutive win here in Miami. O'Rourke has gone to fourth. Haas now. It's a McLaren Haas on the front two rows. And didn't expect that one, but Haas ran very well last week in Austria around Miami. What can Mercedes do? The top scoring team last week in Austria. Ray 6th. Stefano 9th. Both drivers improving. Ray, it says he's purple in sector 2. Not sure if we can believe that one, but we will see as Ricky is looking to increase the gap on pole now. There is Krypton gone to 6th. Red Bull with an impressive performance, locking out the third row as it stands.
Ray coming through the final couple of corners though. This has looked absolutely electric from the Italian, the current championship leader, on the run to the line. Is he going to go quickest? The Mercedes to the line? No, he goes third. It's a 26.4 in the end. So close in the 600th of a second. But Ricky is up by a 10th of a second already in the first sector. The Shazoo man, different gravy at this stage. Now up, by the way, went 8th as well. He improved, I think, on his previous lap. Will Murdoch there in 9th looking to try and improve as well. We'll continue on board with Ricky if there's any... Go on.
Will Murdoch is around. He spun at the chicane. We've seen him overcommitted on his second attempt. He's overcommitted on his third attempt, and it will be a maximum 9th starting position. Axe has backed off on his time, but Ricky's flying here. This is going to be pole, surely.
He is. He's a 10th and a half up in the middle sector, coming down in towards turn 17. More improvements. Jax goes 10th. Frankie there in 12th as well. Mateus there down in 14th. Krypton, I think, has just improved at 8th as well. He has beaten his teammate indeed. But Ricky now on the run to the line. The McLaren, is this a 26.2 incoming on the run to the line? No, it's a 26.3, but he still goes quickest anyways. He's 700 quicker than everyone else. A rocker is not on a lap. We'll just flick through everyone else. Will Murdoch, as you say, spun in the middle sector through the chicane. Nuth was a second down, and that is the end of qualifying. It is Ricky out on top, Axe there in second, Stefano in third, and it's that man again, Ricky, out on top in terms of pole position. Can he now come alive once again in the race? He didn't last week. Can he do it this week?
Oh, Ricky, he seems to be the man to beat in qualifying this season, doesn't he? It's another pole. It's 2 from 2. An incredible lap that time to beat people by a 10th of a second. The grid is separated by practically nothing. Top 6 within 0.2 of a second. It was a disappointing qualifying by Black Box, though. He's down in 19th after almost getting a podium last week in Austria. We're in for an interesting race, but of course we do have a short break now, folks, before we go into the race. That is due to fix some glitches. We'll have a lobby reset.
We will do indeed, but it is Ricky out on top, a 10th of a second clear of everyone else. Axe there in second. The Mercedes pairing with the same lap times, 3rd and 4th position, the German of Stefano and the Italian there of Ray. Nicosos there in 5th, filling out the top 5, then the top 6 are covered by a rocker and covered by less than 0.2 per second. Devon there in 7th with Krypton in 8th, now up there in 9th, Wilmot up in 10th, then it's Jackson 11th, Frankie in 12th, Nuth there in 13th, Mateus there in 14th, Ron there in 15th, Ari's there in 16th, and it's Jake Marsh in 17th, much improved in terms of his qualifying this week as well. Thomas Hetchel there down in 18th, what could have he done if he actually got a proper lap time in? Black Box in 19th, wow. Firefox down at the back of the field there as well, but as Evan mentioned, we're now going to a short commercial break. We will be back in around about a minute and a half's time, and hopefully you can stay tuned in to PSGL F2, but we'll be back after these messages from our title sponsor, GT Omega and Grid Rival. Welcome back, everyone, to PSGL F2. You can now see our wonderful faces once again. And at the end of that qualifying session, Evan, Ricky out on top. He has done it once again. Can he now rectify the wrongs of last week in Austria and come alive in Miami?
Well, he was unlucky to lose in Austria last week. He did drive a great race, but got stuck in a battle for second, which is what cost him. But that he's incredible in qualifying is what we're getting. Absolutely incredible stuff to take pole 2 weeks in a row in such a tight tier. He seems to be the man everyone wants to beat in qualifying. Can he do it in the race though? That's the question. This is Miami. We have not been here before. This is the first PSGL race around, well, not first, but the first season around Miami. The only thing these guys have to look for is the lower PS tiers or PC tiers. And I think there will be some interesting things in strategy because, of course, drivers need to figure out how long tyres can do. Soft tyres would normally be, if there's a late safety car, they can easily go to the end, but their mediums may come into play here. And I think Ricky, he might struggle to win this one. I think this is a real opportunity for a shock winner this season, but Ricky's pace is definitely on top.
Yeah, definitely so. Obviously, Ricky, in terms of his pace, he came alive in that qualifying session. Whether or not that repeats itself, of course, going into the race remains to be seen, and hopefully it does, because I'd like to see how he gets on around here, of course, in Miami. For anyone that might be wondering as well, those are the wrong standings. I'll just quickly change them. There we go. There's the driver's standings, of course, from last week, and we'll take you through them now while we've got a little bit of break in the action. Can inform you, by the way, we're just gone into the lobby. Drivers are now joining the lobby, and it should be about 5 minutes until we start back again in terms of the on-track action. But it is Ray out on top, 16 points. He has currently got a 4-point lead, obviously, over Ricky, who finished in second, to be honest, last week. I thought he finished a little bit further down than that, but that's my memory for you. A Rocker there in third on 10 points, Blackbox there in fourth on 8, Tomasetto in fifth on 6, Devon in sixth on 5, then Axe in seventh on 4, Ron in 8th on 3, now up there in 9th on 2, and Alberto Vara there in 10th on 1 point. And for anyone that might have missed it at the start of the stream, you can see the string of bands there next to Dino's name. And it was actually caused, and I'll actually get it up on Discord for you, the official stewarding decision, unless you can beat me to it, Evan. I've got it, I think.
Well, I have it too, so, oh well. We can read it out for you here. I will take roll to beat James, and unfortunately, James's beautiful face is covering it. There we go. The decision from the stewards is OP Dino will be excluded from the next 6 races until round 7 included. After pitting from last place at the start of lap 26, OP Dino rejoined the track right in front of his teammate OP Ray. Despite having a clear pace advantage, he was on fresh softs and Ray on used mediums. OP Dino did not drive at full speed, so Ray could stay within DRS range and pull away from the chasing pack that was a couple of seconds behind. Ray was able to benefit of DRS 10 times, which gave him a highly unfair advantage. Due to OP Ray not being in a direct battle, we have opted against a harsher penalty, which would be a season ban, so they've opted against that no season ban, and he says any further offence will result in an immediate league ban. So take it out what you will. It's a strict penalty for sure, but those things do have to be cut out. And, well, it's unfortunate for Dino, but rules are rules.
Rules are rules at the end of the day, and we were alluding to it earlier on. Different leagues have different rules at the end of the day. PSGL, maybe just, I would say, I'm not disowning the league, whatever, by this comment, but maybe one of the stricter set of rules, obviously with it going towards a natural step for F1 esports. Maybe the stewarding is a little bit harsher than, say, in a smaller league, for example, but that doesn't mean that rules are rules, and rules are indeed rules. And obviously, with Dino, I'm sure he will come back. I'm sure he will learn from his mistakes. I'm sure Ray will also learn from his mistakes as well. There shouldn't be any form of communication between them both going forward. Obviously, they're going to be in the same team come round 8, obviously, for the final 4 rounds. That's if Dino obviously decides to come back into the league. But hopefully, it is a stepping stone, I think, to obviously Dino realising what he's done, improving from the mistakes. I saw him in the chat earlier on, and I know he was disappointed, obviously, about the decision that was made. But rules are rules, and Dino, if you are listening, we want to see you back in PSGL. Learn from your mistakes. We know you're better than that, and come back fighting stronger than ever.
Yeah, rules are rules, and that's really it at the end of the story. Of course, there's so many tiers in PSGL. It goes up to F15, I think, in PlayStation. Not even sure how it goes in PC, but there's easily 8 or 9 tiers there, and there has to be a precedent set, and that's the problem. Unfortunately for Dino, is that the precedent was set, and 150 odd people watching this, some of them will be PSGL drivers, and they know, no, we cannot do that, and that's the big thing. Um, it is unfortunate for Mercedes, as they did seem to have great pace in Austria, but oh well, you broke the rules and you've been punished for it. You gotta accept that. What's the famous quote? Don't do the crime if you can't do the time, and unfortunately, the time will be served by Dino. But if we do cut back to Miami, the race at hand, qualifying has been completed, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to get going for the race fairly soon, hopefully. And it is Ricky on pole once again. And suppose the talking point about Miami is, as we've mentioned it a few times, can Ricky win? Well, I'm not quite sure, as I said, but let us know in the stream chat who you are going for the win. I see James asking there, who's your money on? Tell us who's your money on. And James, is there going to be a prediction from you?
At the end of the formation lap, if we ever got one, I think, but that might not happen. So we might not get the formation lap. I'm just having a look. Qualifying is off, rate of 29 laps. But what I can do before I decide to make my prediction, and obviously remember the results that we then qualifying, we can take you through the track map, of course. It is 5.4 kilometres and then 3.3 miles, 19 turns waiting our drivers out on track. 3 DRS zones, of course, one down the start for the straight, a little bit of eclipse there by the Hard Rock Stadium building there. One down the back straight in towards turn 11, one down in towards turn 17. And Evan, I've seen a race around this track, and honestly, this potentially could be very good in terms of overtaking. The race that I saw, though, hardly any overtaking, so hopefully we get the former rather than the latter.
Well, in league racing, it seems to be providing some decent overtaking. The race I did in F11 provided more crashing than overtaking, so hopefully we don't see that tonight. In real life Formula 1, it wasn't the best for overtaking, but you can never really compare the two. PSGL and Formula 1 are two completely ball games, honestly. It's just the cars that are the exact same, but this Miami circuit, it is the Miami Autodrome, of course. It is the second time Florida's hosted the Formula One race. The 1959 race at Sebring was the first time. And we just gotta wait and see, don't we? Can people find overtaking opportunities? It's difficult to do. I think the best overtaking opportunity is into turn 1, because if you can get a good exit out of turn 16 and get the run down the back straight, you can get close, hook in for the final braking zone, and get a run down the main straight is really going to be your best opportunity. It is 19 corners, 19 very difficult corners. We'll see some spinners tonight.
Mark, by the way, in the comment section, I know this is a bit of a comment based at one of us, obviously. What do you get for that guy talking? Couldn't understand what he said. That's what you get when you stick an Irishman and a Northerner together. Simple as that, to be honest. So obviously, if you don't like us, don't tune in. Simple as that. I'm not here to offend anyone.
Viewers, stick with us. You can suffer. Stick with us. Listen to this. This is going to be a brilliant race. You don't want to miss it. Of course, if you do want to watch another PSGL race, you can tune into PSGL F1 with Jess Games and Carmentless at 8 o'clock, but there's still another half an hour. You may as well stick with us. You're here now, but we're getting ready to go for the race. We can see the garages, and I believe it is no formation lap.
No formation lap indeed. Looking at, unless it comes up and we're saying we're going formation lap in about 10 seconds' time, I'll have to prepare myself, obviously, for the race start. Evan, I'm going to quickly come to you. Who's your top 3?
I have no idea, and that's my honest answer. I'm Ricky, Ray, and we're going to go for Black Box. There we go. But honestly, I have no idea. And we do have a formation lap, folks, so we will get a bit of build-up and some fantastic communication between us and the guys who organised this. Here is the race strategy, and it's a fairly simple one, folks. The top 19 are on the hard compound tyres, and OP Fox at the back will start on the mediums. So it's the fairly simple one. Of course, we've seen in Austria, everybody started on the hard compound tyres, but we have gone for something different this evening here in Miami. And I'm starting to think this won't end as simple as it starts, James, because we're going to get a safety car here.
we will get a safety car. We might get many safety cars, to be honest, and I don't want to preempt the future, but that might just happen, and hopefully we don't have any game glitches or anything. The last time I commentated around this track, I got a game glitch, and we had to go tech, and there was no stream for the further, so I'm just preempting anything that might happen. It's not our fault, it's the game's fault, and this is just literally what we're given in front of us. Talking about the strategy, though, top 19, obviously
There's
on
no
that sort of
game
hard...
sound, by the way, James. That's the first issue that has arose. Jess has told us that in the stream chat. There's
no game
sound, seemingly.
Oh! I've muted it. There we go.
I did know he did that. I tried to make sure he'd figure it out. We totally weren't panicking for a game issue already, but we have 29 laps to come around Miami. Ricky on pole axis in second, with Stefano in third, beating his teammate. Will be bit between Ray's teeth. Well, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, definitely. So as I've just said in the chat there, I muted the capture card instead of Evan, unfortunately, which might be good for some of you, might not be good for the majority of you. That is obviously tuning in.
You heard me talking during the GT Omega ads, so just ignore that.
Yeah, maybe.
Here we go.
Maybe so. But 29 laps, of course, awaiting our drivers out on track. In terms of the strategy, though, Firefox there, medium compounder tyres from 20th position. I will not be surprised if he's actually top 10 by the end of this race. Those mediums are going to be quick off the start. He's going to be theoretically the quickest man out on track as well. Whether or not he can overtake the likes of Black Box, Aries, Ron, very much quicker drivers, and drivers obviously that's the same pace around him, remains to be seen. And for anyone that might be wanting to tune in, here's my top 3. I'm going to go Stefano for the win. I'm going to go Arocca for second. Good luck, Arocca. I know there's FEL fans watching for you. And in third, I'm going to go for Ricky.
Well, here we go then. Here come the red lights.
5 red lights on here, and PSGL F2 for round number 2. Long hold, but it's lights out and away we go. Stefano gets a really good start on the run down in towards turn number 1. I think he's going to go on the outside line in towards turn number 1, and he does. And Stefano, and there's a collision further down the field, Ray down the inside line there as well. And Ricky has been spun set early on, but it's Stefano that leads the way. 9/10 of a second, coming to the end of the first sector. Ray there in second, Devon there in third, now up there in fourth. Will Murdoch and the Coasters are going side by side into the S section. And it's just about the McLaren coming out on top there in fifth. Will Murdoch there in sixth as it comes towards the end of the first sector now. Krypton there in seventh, Jack's there in eighth. The Coasters, though, however, gets absolutely handed down the inside on and Will Murdoch, and that's a phenomenal move by Will. He's through and he's into fifth, as now Frankie and Nuth are fighting side by side further down the field as well. Absolute drama. Couldn't keep up with what happened at turn number 1 there. Stefano, though, leads the way. Ray in second. It's an OP 1-2 at this stage in the Mercedes. Ricky, however, going side by side with Ron further down the field, trying to make really good positions, obviously, from that spin, from that 3-4 wide in towards turn number 1. And Ricky tries to go all the way around the outside now through turn 11. Now for turn number 12, and 2x2 into the chicane. Does not really work, and I hope they don't do this. They are doing this in front, though, however. Arocca and Ron are side by side. And Aries actually gets forced to the outside line, and Arocca's around the outside, just about fitting 2 cars in there. Beautiful move by Arocca, and he's through, and he's into 12th, but it's Stefano that leads. Ray in second, Devon in third. Only one I think that's got a little bit of damage is Firefox right down the back of the field. He's dropped a few positions. Black Box, however, is making another position on the back of Thomas Settle, the Italian, now under pressure from the Brit on the run down now in towards turn 17. Not quite close enough as Frankie and Krypton swap positions further up the field as well, but Stefano leads. Ray in second, Devon in third. Don't know what happened on turn number 1. I don't think anybody cares, to be honest.
Number 1, it looked like it was a 4 wide. There was a Haas going up the inside of someone. Jake Marsh into the pit lane. Tomasetto, front wing end plate, flew off into the 2 wide with the AlphaTauri at that point. Positional change, it's all over the shop. It's Nikosas down 1, Stefano up 2, leading the race. Mercedes 1-2. The guys who lost at the start were Axie, Aorca and Ricky in the 3 wide with one of the Mercedes. One of the Mercedes was managed to get through, and that's why it is a Mercedes 1-2. You've never seen that before in Formula 1 in recent years. But just like last week, the 2 Mercedes are the ones setting the pace. It's the other one on this hand, though. It is Stefano flying at the race start. Some big gains as well. It was Jack's up 4, Frankie up 4. Krypton had a great race start, but he did lose the rear heading out of the final braking zone of turn 17 into 18. He had a wobble, almost ended up in the pit lane. Ricky, though, is trying to make up moves. He's just made a move on Ron and is now up to 14th position.
Jake Marsh, by the way, is in the pit lane, or came out the pit lane there. In the Ferrari, he got damage on the first lap, and that's why he's into the pit lane. I think he's just got onto a set of medium compounded tyres as well. But Stefano leads the way. Ray now applying pressure, though, in second. Devon there in third. Of course, turn 1 will be looked at. I guarantee you that. 4 into 1 does not work, as Yuri has rightly pointed out, I think. 4 into 1 really didn't work. But Stefano actually got that cleanly around the outside. He got a phenomenal start on the run down and towards turn number 1. I wish we had a replay to obviously cover that back. But look at now, the guy setting lap times. Now up now goes quick as 30.7. But Ray is now applying pressure to Stefano. And we saw this with Ray. Ray's qualifying pace wasn't that good. Firefox now sets the new fastest lap. His qualifying pace wasn't that good. His race pace, however, was. And Ray, I think, is coming alive in the streets of Miami. Devon there in third position on the back of him. And Ray, at this moment in time, applying pressure. Will there be Mercedes clean team orders in terms of fighting?
Well, another thing we have to remember, we're going to go back to the big elephant in the room. Stefano is not Ray's original teammate. These two guys, they are both OP, but it is Dino and Ray who had planned to work together for the season. Stefano could be described as the George Russell of Sakir back in the team here for Miami, and Ray breaking the later of the two as they enter into turn number 11, and Devon is sitting there like a watch guard. He is holding and waiting for something to happen, and it looks like Newt has just gone around the outside of Krypton. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but the Alpine is now 9th.
Yeah, Newt just pretty much up and under coming through turn number 11. Krypton went too deep on the brakes. Newt on the inside line got the job done, and he's into 9th. It was very easy, to be honest, from the German. But now the Italian applying pressure to the German on the back in towards turn number 17. And there's Stefano that leads the way. Ray in second, Devon in third. Now up there in fourth. The opening 2 laps and 3 laps now of this race. More entertaining than the other Island finals. Krypton now goes wide, coming through turn 17, and that lets Axe through. So Axe through and he's into 10th. And Krypton is all over in terms of the rear end, and the Rocker's been caught up in that as well. And the Rocker's spun. Pretty much rear wing damage, I think, on the car there as well. Not sure what happened there. I think Krypton was sideways at turn 17. And unfortunately, Rocker, wrong place, wrong time, got caught up in that, and Krypton absolutely all over the place.
Krypton was all over the place, but somehow he's the one who's come off the better, and just like Martin Brundle would say, Aorka drove into the scene of the accident. That's horribly unlucky to end up in the wall there, but he's down to 19th behind Firefox, who Firefox as well was round before we got really into the second phase of the start. It might have been a spin off the line for Firefox, which is highly unlucky as he is on the medium compound tires. But Krypton really not having a good day so far in the Miami Autodrome. He has lost positions since the start, and it's mainly been that final corner which has been costing him. He's kicked out the rear 2 times on that, the latter one being the bigger one.
Yeah, definitely so. Again, Ray on the back of Stefano. We saw him PCF1 around here. There wasn't much overtaking happening in the first half of the race, mainly in the second half when everyone comes in, obviously, for those fresh medium compounded tires, which we assume the drivers will be going on if there's no safety cars.
There's a move up the front here. The Mercedes are battling. Oh, Ray almost looked for it down the inside, but a clever choice to stick at the back here. This could be a move into turn number 1. The DRS is well and truly in play here. We've been green flag running since the start. Despite that turn 1 collision, Stefano is getting the better launch out of the corners, and that is why he is still leading the Miami Grand Prix here in PSGL F2. And Ray, I don't know if he's sitting behind here, but he's not getting the exits he wants, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely so. I think Ray is struggling, obviously, with a bit of oversteer, I think, in that car. The rear end maybe just a little bit unstable compared to Stefano's rear end. Looking quite good, though, Stefano, at this stage. He's pulling out, in the first sector especially, he pulls like 2-3 tenths per second just then, and Ray has obviously got to try and gain that back. It looks like he takes the wide out line to try and get the exit, and therefore Stefano is literally ahead, 5.5 tenths. A Rocker, by the way, is into the quick lane, as we assume, maybe for front wing changes, going for a set of soft compounded tyres there as well. Rear wing damage potentially on that car, but a Rocker's still continuing on. They're in 20th position, and there goes my prediction for a possible top 3 for him. And it's every time that I predict the top 3, something happens for him, and therefore we don't have any action between them. However, we do have action as Black Box goes around the outside of Tomasetto through turn number 10, through turn number 11. He's on the inside line for 12. Black Box, if he pulls this one off, this will be a phenomenal move. He's on the outside line into the chicane. What a move by Black Box. Believe in him indeed. And Black Box is through, and he's into 15. Masterful driving. Let me just say, Tomasetto could have easily made contact with him there. He didn't. He gave him room. Beautiful move, and he's through, and he's into 15th. There's now Ray right on the back of Stefano once again for the lead. But Black Box through. He's into 15. Yes, he's lost time. That was great fighting between them both.
Incredible driving for both of them. I think Tomasetto really needs to be given his dues for that. Could have easily just chucked it up the inside into the chicane, but he backed out. Black Box with an incredible move, an incredible attempt to make a move into that section of track. It's not an easy thing to do, and as you go side by side with walls either side of you, you will start to panic. Neither driver panicked. Cool, calm and collected. Black Box believed in his abilities. Tomasetto believes that Black Box would not hit him, and it's all worked out well for both. Tomasetto losing a position, but Black Box is very low on the battery now, so Tomasetto can try attack back. Up the front though, Ray a lot closer to the S's this time, but it doesn't look like he's close enough for a move. It seems like you need to be within that 310 window almost if you want to dive one up the inside into turn number 11.
And here comes turn number 11. Will Murdoch down the inside on and out. That's late on the brakes. What a move that is on the brakes. Will Murdoch through, and he's into fourth. Now pretty much gave him the inside line.
Stefano's lost it into the slow section, and Ray almost ran up his teammate's gearbox. Devon was really close through that section, and the Mercedes up front of Stefano looked really wobbly through there, but it seems like he's somehow recovered that. Will Murdoch excellent on the brakes, no lockups there, and there is a bit of a move here. Frankie is looking on the fellow Ferrari powered car. Of course, it is the Scuderia Ferrari, as there is a leader change here. Big dive from Ray up the front, and he's put Stefano wide, and Ray now leads the Miami Grand Prix.
Now up got contacted, I think, by the back of Nicosos there as well. Frankie now led into play, maybe a 3 wide towards turn number 1. We saw this on that one. We don't want to see it again, and it's now 2 wide actually, because Nicosos on the inside on and now up tries to get the job done. Now up there stays 5th. Nicosos there in 6th. There was also a 3 wide scenario, by the way, further down the field. Matthias was 15, is now still in 15. Black Box there in 16, Thomas Escher in 17. All 3 of them, however, came into contact, and Black Box, I think, has got left side end plate damage on the car, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the end plate is missing off the Alfa Romeo, so obviously some form of contact running in towards turn 11 last time around, and Black Box there, we believe in him, but is he still going to continue with that damage on the car, as Jax now sets his sights on Frankie and Nicosos, and now the front 4, Evans, seem to be getting away, because now under pressure from Nicosos, and this could be easy down in towards turn number 11. Nicosos on the inside on the FMD man, down the inside of the QRT man, holds the inside line. He's a little bit early on the brakes though, but now holds it around the outside line. And Nicosos, I think, he's a little bit braver on the brakes. I think he would have got that move done.
Now is leaving him centimeters of space, just enough and centimeters of space. There is physically no way Nicosos could go down the inside there, and somebody has tapped the wall behind him. I believe it might have been Newt, but there is a theory in the chat saying that the Mercedes is quicker on equal performance. That is not the case, as here comes Nicosos. He is well past on the straight. There is no stopping that. Gets the car stopped, but now might have another thing to say about this. He is a little bit more on the battery. He also is the DRS. This could be a close one in towards turn number 1, but I think Nicosos might just have enough on him. Stefano, we've seen he was quicker through sector 1. He's all over the back of his teammate Ray, and no, the Mercedes is not quicker on equal performance. The cars do not go by size or weight, they are just exactly equal. They may handle a little bit different. It's something people have found on the 2021 game, but as far as straight line speed and performance goes, we're exactly equal.
Yeah, definitely. So, well, equal means equal. Simple as that. No need for any explanation. Thank you, though, Evans, for that explanation for people that might just be, obviously...
Though it's going for the podium, he's going on the back of Devon. Sorry to interrupt there, but Will Murdoch, Mr. Late on the brakes. Devon defends to the inside. Will Murdoch on the outside. What can the Alpine man do? Can he send one round the outside? This is going to be a really close move. Just about in the track limits. Just about close to the wall. But Will Murdoch, he's almost got it done. Devon has tapped the inside wall, which has cost him out there. Will Murdoch is now up onto the podium after making some mistakes in qualifying. He is looking for redemption day. The Alpine is now the lead on Mercedes on the podium.
Reminding me, I think, of his overtakes in PSGL F3 last season. Will Murdoch, absolutely phenomenal stuff. He's up to 3rd in the Alpine, now up on the back of the Nicosos further down the field as well. However, the other McLaren, Ricky, is making ground. He's on the inside of Ari. He's running down in towards turn 17. This should be easy for the papaya-coloured car, and he gets the job done through turn 17, and Ricky Stooney's into 10th, recovering well, I've got to say, and he's only 5 seconds really off the front of the race. After that 4 wide moment in towards turn number 1, which didn't work, he got sandwiched basically in between both Mercedes and Axe as well. Axel, they're down in 12th. Ricky there in 10th. They came out the worst. They're recovering really well, though. Axel, I know, has lost 2 positions. Masiek, I know, in the chat was a little bit annoyed. There's still 20 laps in this race, though, to go. Do not dishearten your driver at all. Keep them going as Firefox is into the pit lane from a set of mediums going to a set of hards. And we saw comments there saying about the high tyre wear. Firefox in, going potentially 20 laps to the end of the race.
20 laps is a stretch. It is a big, big stretch on these hard compound tyres. But we have not had Mr. Bernd Maylander out in the safety car just yet. And Stefano wasn't close enough, but here comes Ricky making another move, the pole sitter. Oh, that's an easy one. He's flown past the Alpine and Newt. And Ricky up into the top 10 well and truly now. He needs to catch 1.7 to get on the back of Jack. Oh no, never mind. The Kostas is around his teammate, and that's the one McLaren having misfortune at the start of the race. The second one, who was making some great moves, he got past Narwarp. He's now down to 14th, where Ricky found himself on lap number 1. Oh, unfortunate for the Kostas. I think he's just about avoided front wing damage as well. Yeah, he's kept his front wing, but that's not going to do any favours for his confidence.
Not at all. Jax, by the way, the Australian, the FBR man, he was quick last week in Austria in qualifying. Didn't appear to do so much in the race. He's on the back of Frankie. He's there in 7th position. On the back of him, he has came about very good, I think, in this race so far. He's only around 5 seconds off the lead, as we say. Ricky there in 8th is obviously going to start catching him. And with Ricky's spin as well, potentially his tyres will be a little bit more wearing compared to Jax's in front. But that means Ricky will have warmer tyres and therefore will be able to close in a bit quicker compared to the guys in front of him, especially if they've been battling, as we've seen so far tonight in PSGL PSF2. Ray, though, leading the way, 7/10 of a second. Stefano, I think, made a mistake coming out. However, Will Murdoch definitely has made a mistake, and Devon's going to sweep on that. Down the outside line, through the kink of turn 10, in towards the left-hander of turn number 11. Will, though, cuts back in the slipstream. He is the king of the late-breaking moves. Not this time, now, the Red Bull through, and he's into 3rd. Do you know what? Will Murdoch might get this on the switchback, but he doesn't. Devon there in 3rd. Will Murdoch there in 4th. Will try every opportunity to get this move retaken.
Yeah, Will almost got it done because Devon outbroke himself, but Devon just broke himself enough for all the Jake Marsh fans at the back. Jake Marsh has made a brilliant move on Firefox at the back into turn number 17, but unfortunately they are both still 20 seconds off the lead. The safety car comes out, they'll be in a decent position because they will be able to pit probably a lap earlier than everyone else.
His Will.
Still, unfortunate for them. Here's Will Murdoch down the inside, late braking and somehow making the apex. Will Murdoch, incredible Grand Prix racing. Frankie has done almost the same thing on Narwarp, and the Alpine and the Alfa Romeo both proving 2 brilliant overtakers this evening in the Miami Autodrome. Ricky is now right on the back of this train because they were battling, meaning Ricky still has his cards to play in this Grand Prix.
Yeah, now, by the way, I think got caught on the inside curb. Frankie went around the outside of him. Unless Frankie was on the inside line. Now, I think, under my impression anyways, he made a mistake, and therefore Frankie threw and he's into 5th. 2 seconds off the back, but Will Murdoch, all of that battling with him and Devon, pretty much cost each other now the DRS to Stefano and Ray, who are obviously now going to start pulling ahead in front, you would imagine. But Will, I know, is good in the middle sector. He'll catch that back for sure. Jack's on the back of Narwarp, trying to overcome, obviously, Narwarp's mistake earlier on. Jack's to the inside line, though. It's could be 3 wider towards turn 11 here. Jack's on the back, Narwarp late on the brakes. Frankie on the inside line. Oh, there's a bit of a tap there from the Ferrari in the back of the Alfa Romeo. But fair play to Narwarp. He still stays in 5th, and he gets that move retaken on Frankie. Spoonie's into 5th.
Into the barrier through the slow section of 14, 15 and 16, but yeah, it looks like the 2 Mercedes may pull away here because Will Murdoch is not catching into that DRS, and Devon is right on the back of him again. This is going to be a scrap, I believe, for the next couple of laps, as it looks like there's a swap. Newt is down to 10th at the AlphaTauri. Varies up to 9th, and it is now Shizou 8-9, which is unfortunate as they were both near the top of qualifying.
Yeah, Frankie on the back of Narwarp. Apologies, by the way, if we just dropped signal slightly, but we are back now. Narwarp there in 5th. Frankie there in 6th. Jax there in 7th. Lap 12 out of 29 here in Miami. Very, very sultry Miami commentary box here, certainly on my end. It's Ray that leads the way, Stefano in 2nd, Will Murdoch in 3rd. Devon there in 4th, myself and Evan Dalton taking you through the action, of course, here out on track. Addressing for you the comments there as well in the chat. Looking at the chat, Aston Martin is on new hard. Yep, that's Firefox down on a set of new hard compound tyres. There in 19th position. Jake Marsh is obviously going to be under pressure from him. Devon, though, in the meantime, is going to pressurise Will Murdoch in towards turn 11. The Red Bull absolutely saunters on by as a Rocket takes a 5-second penalty in the pit lane. That might be the first retirement of the night, but Devon through, and he's into third, and there is a retirement, and there's a Rocker in the pit lane. And that's what I unfortunately get, victim to P2.
Yeah, that's another James Head commentator's curse. So congratulations on that. That is 2 for 2 this season. But Will Murdoch is in a battle with Devon here, and it seems like these two are going to be swapping and changing while the two Mercedes pull away without a car, thankfully, providing the DRS there, 1 and 2 on the circuit. Ray seems to be struggling a bit though. Stefano has been putting in the better lap times as of the last 2 laps. But it looks... Oh, here we go again. Narrow versus Frankie. We're just going to overcut that, Todd, on whatever I was going to say. Oh! Frankie, very nice moves. There's a yellow flag.
Jack's has spun in the background. Ricky has been caught up in that as well, unfortunately. So Ricky's into the pit lane. Front wing has been taken completely off the car. The McLaren, he'll be absolutely fuming at this stage. If you've ever been a driver in this situation and you've been caught up in an incident at the wrong place at the wrong time, Ricky got spun in towards turn number 1 on a 4-wide scenario. He's now just been completely wiped out by Jax. No fault of his own. Jax just spun it in front of him. Ricky there in 16th, wrong place, wrong time. Ghosting system didn't come into play. And Ricky is now having to serve basically an 8-second pit stop for absolutely nothing that he has done. Perhaps one of the luckiest drivers out on track here tonight.
Oh, when I said it would be difficult for Ricky to win the race, I didn't think he would become a target for everyone's car to go into, but that wasn't Jack's fault at all. It's a spin, and unfortunately another driver has been caught up in it. Ricky now down to 16th place. He's on fresh mediums and 18.2 seconds off. Black Box in 15th, who is struggling with that end plate damage. Will Murdoch all over the bag of Devon again, and version number 4 of the Devon and Murdoch show is about to happen, possibly into turn 17. Although Devon is running the better straight line speed. He's got an absolute launch over that corner. Will Murdoch will have to produce the last of the late breakers in the next few corners if he wants to get the position.
Not close enough down in towards turn 17. We will begin to see, though, I think pit stops happening, and speaking of which, Stefano into the pit lane, P2 into the pit lane, and the Mercedes brakes underneath the 50-metre board, the 50-mile-an-hour board, of course. Stefano into the pit lane, and this will be for a set of medium compound tyres, as we've got a Ted Kravitz, by the way, in Paramel in the chat. I know who you are, Paramel. Well, I don't know who you are, but thank you for joining us with the Ted Kravitz pit update there in the commentary box there, in the comment section, I should say, on YouTube. Stefano, though, out of the pit lane, clear air. But he's going to have to get those tyres up to temperature, Evan, and that is a whole different thing, because Ray, I think, will pull away, maybe be a second ahead when he comes out the pit lane, maybe next time around.
Yeah, you can see him weaving here. He is weaving. The mediums are much easier to heat than the hard compound tyres. But it's not like even as a full tank of battery, the pit lane does not give you a full battery at all anymore. He's only got about 35%, and he is going to struggle. If he can get those tyres heated up before the end of the first sector, he may be in with a chance of the undercut. Krypton is going for a move on Axie here. No, has not worked from the man currently 9th. We see him struggling at the start of the race, but it's bedded down, he's settled in, and he's going for the other point-paying positions is Kryptonite, and it looks like Stefano has got the tyres up to temperature. He's pumping in some good sectors.
Here comes William Murdoch, though, on the back of Devon. He pulls to the inside line. He might have to be forced to the outside here, because Devon's absolutely pushing him all the way to the left-hand side of the track. Will Murdoch, though, down the inside line into turn 17. Alpine saunters on by, a little bit of traction on the exit, and he goes into the pit lane. That's cheeky from Will. He's into the pit lane ahead of Devon, and that is absolutely perfect, as Ray is also into the pit lane from the lead of the race as well. Frankie is in, now up is in. Aries continues on, though, so this is interesting. The AlphaTauri in, not into the pit lane. Everyone else coming in for set of hards. Nuth, Krypton and Ron continue on there as well. But Ray into the pit lane, set of medium compound tyres. Where, though, is Stefano in all of this? Stefano's coming across the start-finish line now. Where is Ray? Ray's on the pit lane.
Position.
Yeah, Ray's on the pit lane exit. Stefano now. Oh, Stefano spun! Stefano spun out of turn number 1. The throttle lets him down out of turn number 1. He applied too much power. Aries has gone for a spin as well in the first sector, coming through turn number 6. But Stefano round out of his own doing. He just got too trigger happy on the R2 button or on the wheel, on the throttle, out of turn number 1, and Stefano was spun, potentially from the lead of the race, and that just promotes Ray into 2.5 second lead.
Oh, Stefano, you can tell what happened there. It was too eager. He's seen his teammate coming out of the pit and he's like, I have to go, I have to go, I have to go. Presses the throttle way too early. Car rotates round, and that's possibly a win gone. Just at the back, though, Ricky, because he has his tyres up to temperature, he's did 2 laps of them, is flying. His teammate Nikozos quite tactically led him through, and now Ricky is picking up places left, right, and centre because he is much quicker on the already preheated tyres. But Ray now, is he on for another possible win? He is doing everything the right way. He's passing the AlphaTauri now, and it's going to be an easy move because he is on the fresh medium compound tyres. This race has just been thrown on its head because Stefano is now under pressure from Frankie.
Ray's just got the move done, by the way, and now he's down and towards turn 17. Good job from him. And yeah, you mentioned now up there, Axe and Ricky now side by side. Ricky to the inside line and towards turn 17. The McLaren passing the Haas down the inside line. Job done, and the Nikozos might just follow through on this as well, potentially, as obviously Axe has got those tyres now up to temperature. But Ricky pulls away. You can tell in terms of the tyres that he's got so much fresher tyres compared to Axe and Nikozos. Just on the traction alone, he gained 2-3 tenths per second there, and that's enough to carry the speed down and towards turn number 1, and to carry him in front of Ron coming out the pit lane, who spawns right in front of Axe and Nikozos. Beautiful, beautiful work, and now look at Nikozos to the inside line, in towards turn number 6. This is impossible. Can he get the move done? He can! Nikozos through, and he's into 12. That is absolutely remarkable from the McLaren man. Ricky down 11th, Nikozos there in 12th, Ron in 13th, and Axe down in 14th. Axe done like an absolute kipper there. Nikozos gains 2 positions. Ricky's going to gain another one on the back, and Newt's running down the straight here as well. In towards turn number 11 we go. Ricky on the outside on. This should be easy. Newt, I don't think is going to defend on those tyres, and those fresh medium compounded tyres, and Ricky's through, and he's into 10. What have we just witnessed? Evan Dalton, Nikozos through, and he's into 12. That was remarkable.
Move of the season so far for sure, but are we back in 1988? The 2 McLarens are flying. Ricky's into the top 10 now. He was 14th 3 laps ago, absolutely flying, and now 2.2 seconds off the back of Narwarp. We still have 3 guys who've not pulled in for their first pit stop. It is Thomas Tetzo who's leading ahead of Black Box. This is actually a battle with Ray, because Ray needs to get past these 2 guys if he doesn't want his gap to fall to Will Murdoch, but he still has a healthy margin, and he's going for Black Box into turn number 1. Black Box actually defending, but is he just going to let off the throttle and let Ray pile around the outside? No, they've made a bit of contact there, I believe. Black Box had to back out of it, and Ray is flying at the front, but Ricky is losing time to Narwarp. Maybe the other tyres are now up to temperature, because Ricky has a job to do if he wants to gain any more than 10th in this race. Newt is right behind him, but Nikozos still absolutely flying in terms of everyone else. He is very close to setting the fastest lap of the race, even when he doesn't move on 2 cars in towards turn number 4.
Ray on the back of Thomas Settle. This is for the actual lead of the race. Will Murdoch is getting onto the back of these guys as well, so this is going to have to be Ray going for boom or bust in terms of this move, and it's gone for the boom because Ray's through and he's into the lead of the race. Thomas Settle in second, didn't want to fight with his fellow Italian, and Ray is through and he's into the lead of the race. Thomas Settle there in second, Black Box there in third, who has still got, by the way, that left side end plate damage that we picked up on a little bit earlier on, possibly out of the 3 wide scenario that he had out of turn number 11. Will Murdoch, though, next up on the overtaking list of Aries, and Black Box now going to be under pressure. Will sets a purple middle sector as well, and now the Alpine's going to absolutely come storming at the Shazoo Academy driver. Will Murdoch on the back to the inside line. This should be easy. Is it going to be easy? Yes, it is. Will Murdoch through, and he's into turn number 17 in P4. Oh, it gets a bit trigger happy on the oversteer out of the exit. Frankie on the back of Stefano as well, and Aries is coming back at him actually down in towards turn number 1.
Yeah, this is not going to plan for Will Murdoch. That little kick out of the rear, oh, he's okay now. He's braked a lot later because he has the tyres to do so. Needs to get past Black Box down the next straight into turn number 11. Then needs to get past Tomasetto as quick as possible and hunt down Ray. Ray, of course, teammate is not up with him now to support Stefano. Is under pressure from Frankie for 7th position. Stefano, who could have led the race if he had have been a little bit quicker on his outlap, and then spun it when he seen his teammate exiting the pits in front of him. Frankie is running well here. He's been a real underdog at this race. Has a lot of battery when everybody else seems to be struggling. Will Murdoch, is he going to get this move done? It's going to have to be very late on the brakes, and I do not think he's close enough to make the move into turn number 11. He is not, which means Black Box is going to be holding him up into this slow middle sector. Oh, he's almost spun Black Box. That was very close, and Black Box is, yeah, look, he's holding him up here. This has not worked out for Will Murdoch. Not worked out at all. And now, oh, the Alpine has hit him. Oh, sorry, not the Alpine. The AlphaTauri's hit him behind, and this is not working out for Will Murdoch. He is a blockade in the middle of an Alpha sandwich. He needs to get past the box here. He's going to do it down in towards turn 17. He just has more straight line speed.
He does indeed, on the brakes as well. When we look through and he's into third, I think he'll be raging at Black Box potentially. In terms of that, the contact model though came very interestingly into play there. Nuth, however, on the back of Ricky is looking like an interesting battle. Ricky, of course, has gained a few positions, obviously, after his turn 1 spin. And his unluckiness. Black Box, by the way, is trying to come back to Will Murdoch in towards turn number 1. Didn't expect to see that. Oh, Stefano's into the back of Frankie. Stefano, sorry to cut you off, Evan, is into the back of Frankie in towards turn number 1. Looking to have kept going there under their own volition still. Frankie there in 7th, Stefano there in 8th. I think Stefano was just too late on the brakes. Cannon into the back of Frankie. Again, the contact model looking at this. Get within a 10th of a second, get within that hitbox of everyone. There's going to be contact.
Anna was weaving almost. He was looking like he was really annoyed at Frankie. It's almost like the famous Fernando Alonso finger wag. Hey, what are you doing? So it must be blaming that one on Frankie. But Frankie, I don't think did anything wrong. I think he just braked, and here we go. There's a battle between the two hard tyre runners, and it looks like Devon's got to go around the outside of Black Box as well. Devon's still in this race. Oh, he might have gone off the track. He could have to hand that position back. He has had to hand it back, and we're too wide into the slow chicane. This is not ending well. No, Devon has backed off of that, and again has to give the position back as per regulation. If that is just his doing or the game, Will Murdoch is going to take second place in this race, though he's going to dive the Williams at turn number 17 side by side, and yeah, Tomasetto has just let off there to let Will Murdoch take the spot. They're not in this fight, they are just going possibly for a set of soft tyres at the end of the race. Devon has dived Black Box down in towards turn number 17, and TF Black Box is going to have to concede that position. He is really struggling on these hard tyres with the damage, and he's led his teammate Frankie straight past, and now it's his job to hold up the Mercedes. This could be a bit of a tactical masterclass from Alfa Romeo, as Black Box is going to hold up Stefano.
Yeah, Stefano, though, I think into the S section, he's got to try and look for an opportunistic move. Maybe in towards turn number 7, dare I say. The Alfa Romeo obviously under pressure now from the Mercedes, and Stefano, if he's got any guts here, he'd go down the inside line, but he doesn't. He knows better than that. Obviously, that would have been a commentator's move, I think, if that was going to be pulled up. By the way, in terms of the penalties, Tomasetto on 3, Aries on 6, Mateus there on 6 at the minute, but here comes Stefano once again, down the inside line. Frankie's going to get Devon as well, through the same section of the track just ahead. So Frankie through and he's into 5th, Stefano there into 7th, and now we're potentially going to be into 8th position here, down the inside line, on Black Box through turn number 11. And he does get the job done. Black Box is not fighting that one back, no matter how much tyres he's on at this stage. Now up there through, and he's into 8th position. So now Black Box surely has got to do the decent thing, come in the pit lane, because I don't think he's going to get a safety car.
Oh, we haven't got a safety car yet, and just in sector number 1, turn 1, you made a mistake and lost the spot to Nakosa. Someone's on the wall at the back, and it is the Haas driver of Axie who is in the wall at the back. He's kept going, and there we go. Safety car has been brought out. He's not out of the race, just broke his front wing, and I think that was, 14-ish seconds after I said we're not going to get a safety car. The safety car has been brought out. Will Murdoch was able to pit. He's dived straight into the pit lane for a set of soft compound tyres. This race is going to get really interesting.
It is going to get really interesting indeed. Will into the pit lane. Aries in. Krypton in. Who else is in? No, Krypton, sorry, not in. Tomasetto in. Now up. Aries, Black Box, Devon, Stefano, Axe, Matthias, all into the pit lane. Axie, I think, very fortunate because he's just picked up front wing damage on that car. He's into the pit lane. Can spend an extra 3 seconds in there, but it's a full safety car. I'm very, very surprised at that, to be honest. Obviously, he must have contacted the wall quite hard, and it's Axie into the wall. Luckily still going in this race. Obviously, he's getting his front wing changed there. He's coming out of his pit box now in the Haas. But not good news if you are not a safety car fan, because the safety car is obviously now out on track. Ray leads the way. Frankie in 2nd, Ricky in 3rd. What are they going to do now, Evan? Because 1st to 8th is still on the set of mediums. They can't pit in because they'll just lose those positions.
Yep, it's stay out. You've committed to it now. It's do or die. Ray didn't get a choice. Frankie certainly did. He's opted to stay out. He's opted for a track position. And maybe that is the call. Because overtaking, it's not easy around Miami, is it? But It is there is corners to do it at when you have a tyre advantage. Will Murdoch is going to be flying here because he is Mr. Late on the brakes, as we've seen today, and he is the lead soft compound runner. He is currently 9th, and he has Jax in front of him. Black Box now is in 14th position for Alfa Romeo, so he hasn't even lost out that much because of that safety car. But yeah, we are in for a good restart here. Hopefully we're going to have a sprint to the finish, as we are going to get restarted about lap 23, I believe.
Yep, lap 23 I think will be the time, unless obviously everyone decides to come back in the pit lane again. Don't think that's going to be the case. The medium runners obviously are going to have to stay out. Jake Marsh, by the way, has rejoined the session. Didn't even see him leave, actually. There is though, pit stop,
it was about 20 seconds
Jax.
ago. He's got back in really, really early. And Jax is pitting. He's seen he's possibly made a mistake here, or maybe has picked up some damage. No, just a tyre change. Gone for the soft. That's another spot for Will Murdoch. He's now behind Krypton.
He is behind Krypton indeed. But I want to have a conversation, of course, with our comment section. What do you think is going to happen in terms of Will Murdoch? He's there in P8 at this stage. I think, personally, just from my personal perspective, and I've seen the soft compounder tyres on this game, I have a feeling those softs are only going to be good for around 4 or 5 laps, and then he will lose all tyre wear on that car and on that compound of tyre. So Will Murdoch has to make these gains very early. Underneath this safety car, he has to do it very early indeed. He can use the likes of Aries and Devon to his advantage as well and behind, because they're also on a set of soft compounder tyres, and they're all on the same strategy behind. But Evan, I'm going to come across to you. What do you think is going to happen? Because I am absolutely convinced Will's not going to win this race, even though he's on the quickest tyre. I think the mediums are just going to come back into play probably before the end of the race, and Will's probably got no chance.
I don't think he's going to win this race, but he's going to be really quick at the start. We've seen in Miami the soft tyres do not last a long time. Miami, of course, the 77th track to host a Formula 1 race, which when I found it out, I don't know why I'm mentioning this now, but I do love going off topic. When I found out Miami was only the 77th venue to host a race, I thought that was really low. I thought we'd be easily in the hundreds. But back to Will Murdoch. Yeah, he's got to gain some spots, especially on Krypton. Ron, possibly new to safety car, is in this lap. He's got to gain lots of spots, but he needs to do it quickly. He needs to be very crucial with these overtakes. I think Ray and Frankie, Ray especially, if he can pull away, he might just be okay and win this Grand Prix, but we have to wait and see. This is going to be interesting, because look who's in third as well, James. Ricky's back up there, and the two McLarens who I was comparing to Senna and Prost earlier are up there and ready to go. Here we go for the restart.
Here we go indeed. Ray out of the final couple of corners, still hasn't started. Now he says go, and Ray on the run towards turn number 1. Nicosos, by the way, has got Ricky completely napping. The two McLarens are going to be side by side in towards turn number 1, but I think Ricky's going to hold on to 30 years indeed. He's very late on the brakes. The Alpine of Will Murdoch diving it down the inside line as well of Ron and Krypton, who go very wide in towards turn number 1. How did Will get 2 positions there? I didn't even see him in the camera angle. He's through and he's into 6. He gets 2 positions for the price of 1. Aries and Stefano are now fighting side by side into the S section of turns 4 and 5. And now Stefano tries to go all the way around the outside. Aries there on the outside line there of Devon, but not quite close enough. Will has already gained 2 positions. This is absolutely crucial to his chances of winning this race, potentially. Stefano loses the position to Tomasetto further down the field as well. Not being the greatest start from him. Ray leads the way though. Frankie in second, Ricky in third, Colston in fourth. I think everything was all clean in the first opening laps, the first opening corners of this safety car restart. And Will Murdoch there on the back of the booth. He's not going to be quite close enough to his teammate. However though, Devon is let through by Krypton.
Yeah, and one of them we get a multi-21 moment with Newt and Will Murdoch. It doesn't look like it. It looks like Newt is driving a defensive line, but Will, incredible dive on Ron and Krypton. Some might say it was on the dirty side, but it depends who you support in Formula 1, what your thoughts on that move was. But Will Murdoch definitely got it done. Now hunting down his teammate, burning his battery, dispatching it all. He's on 57% already, which is quite low, considering we have only done the majority of the first lap. Really late on the brakes. He's hitting Nicosos around. Nicosos is red at the final corner and has recovered very well indeed, but Will Murdoch will be seeing the stewards after this race for that one. He's broken exceptionally late, and now Devon is diving Newt as well, but Will Murdoch may pick up a penalty for that. It was definitely his fault. It was definitely a mistake, and he broke a bit too late on the brakes.
Yeah, king of the overtakers, maybe not so for Will Murdoch there in 4th position. Stewards will be knocking on his door and coming and maybe giving him a slight slap on the wrist there. But Will Murdoch there in fourth. He's still doing a good job, regardless of your opinions about him. He's still doing a fantastic job in this race, and we have to take it on face value of what we've got in front of us currently on our screens. Ray leads the way, though. Frankie in second. Ricky there in third. I think we're going to get side by side, maybe further down the field. Tomasetto and Aries, and maybe going side by side. They're running in line at stern formation, though. On the run down, we are going to get side by side between Mateus and Nowell. Just in the back of this. Oh, and actually Black Box is very early on the brakes, and they have to try and go for portion the right see on the inside and the outside of them. And now they're side by side once again. Nowell and Mateus coming through turn 13, and Nowell hangs on to position, and 14 is all going to get a little bit concentrated up into the chicane. Goodness me, how did that not end in contact? I do not know. Ray leads the way. Frankie there in second, Ricky in third. Will Murdoch there in fourth. Next target on his back is Ricky. And now here he comes to the inside line in towards turn 17. The Brit on the back of the Shazoo man dives it down the inside line. This time he's letting the brakes, and this time he gets the job done. That is Will Murdoch at his finest. He's Thunies into third.
Will Murdoch on a charge. What an exceptional move. He's an exceptional GT7 driver. He knows how brakes on different cars work. He's using it. Here comes Devon on Ricky. The softs are too quick at this point in the race. It's the drop-off we need to keep an eye on. The tyre wear, if this was real life, it wouldn't be too bad, as there was 85,000 yards of new asphalt laid to make this circuit, but this is the Formula 1 2022 game. No one knows what's going to happen at any point. Will Murdoch is on a charge, and he's almost a second off our race leader, Ray. Frankie has not attacked Ray just yet, but he's going to have a different thing. What's happening back here?
Tomasetto diving it down the inside of Aries is what's happening down at the back of the field. Goodness me, 10th and 11th position. I thought Tomasetto was going to get that job done there. Now he might, though, down in towards turn number 11. Oh, and he goes for the inside line. That's not going to appear. And now he has to fight back on the power, maybe to go around the outside and towards turn 11. Aries late on the brakes. Oh, he cannons into the back of Krypton. Krypton loses, I think, 2 positions, maybe even 3 here, because Stefano's on the outside line. This is all going to get messy very quickly indeed. It's a car park coming through the chicane as well. Goodness me, there's 3-4 wide in the background. Krypton, Nowell, Black Box, Mateus all getting caught in contact. It's a bit like wacky races in the further down the field here. Ray leads the way, though. Frankie in second. Will Murdoch there in third. Devon in fourth. Ricky in fifth. It's easy and plain sailing for the top 5 because they're pulling away from Ruth, and everything is happening further down the field.
Mario Kart is nothing compared to this. This is not Miami. This is Coconut Mall. We're seeing incredible stuff. This is a dive from Narwhal. All these guys on softs, they all have pace and they all want to make overtakes. Incredible Narwhal. Somehow, I don't think we had many people get damaged. Jax is around at the back and he is going backwards into the Crypto.com wall on the left-hand side of the final corner. He is retired on track there. I don't think that will bring out a safety car. It will just bring out the yellow flags, but Will Murdoch is right on the back of Frankie here. He needs to play this clever because Frankie has a lot more ERS and Krypton has spun at the back. Really unfortunate for Krypton. He survived the wacky races, but unfortunately it was his own doing. And that's Tomasetto gone as well.
Tomasetto's round coming through turn number 6. They're all getting a little bit, I think, overheated in terms of the rears. But here comes Will Murdoch on the back of Frankie. Is he going to look to the inside line? Head toward turn 11. What a move this is! Will Murdoch down the inside line at turn 11. Frankie on the outside line. Now Will Murdoch on the outside line for 12 and 13. Will Murdoch, oh, what a move! What an insane overtake that is. Will Murdoch through, and he's into second. Frankie has been done like an absolute kipper. Will Murdoch through, and he's into second. Will this man win the race, Evan Dalton?
Incredible pun. Brilliant. Just amazing pun that one was. And I don't even know if you meant it. But will win the race. We will have to wait and see. Devon is looking feisty on the back of Frankie as well. We have to wait and see. Will Murdoch only 11% ERS. He's going to struggle, but he's on the back of Ray, and the man who qualified, he wasn't on the front row, he wasn't on the second row. Will Murdoch qualified 10th, ladies and gentlemen. Who qualified 10th of the weekend and won the Grand Prix? Another man who likes a late breaker of an overtake. Will Murdoch is all over the back of Ray here. I think he could do this one. Down in towards turn number 11. Incredible driving from a lot of guys in this grid so far. This has been an exceptional Grand Prix.
I wish, honestly, somebody had the face cam on me there, to be honest. Ray leads the way. Will Murdoch there in second. Frankie there in third. Devon in fourth. Hopefully nobody's got the face cam, by the way, on the back of me. But Will Murdoch on the back of Ray, hunting him down once again in towards turn 11. Is the overspeed going to be absolutely posing for the Alpine? We've only got 3 laps to go, by the way, here in Miami. Will Murdoch on the back of Ray. Closing in to the inside line. He's the king of the late breakers. And he sails it down the inside line. Beautiful move by Will. Ray gave him the easy option there, I think. Will though through and he's into the lead. All that Ray needs to do though, he's got more EOS than him. He needs to stay within a second. He could fight back in the final 2.5 laps.
Of course, we can't forget Will may be under investigation for that collision with Nicosos, but I have to say Nicosos has recovered really well, and he may let it slide. We'll have to wait and see. It looks like Mateus has gone at the back. It's another spinner who has fallen to the turn 13, 14 and 15 section, and it looks like Ron and Newt are battling here. Newt unfortunately seems to be struggling in the latter stages of this Grand Prix. Will Murdoch has made a mistake out of the chicane. Ray is all on his back, not the chicane, apologies, the hairpin, but here is Ray all on his back. We could be battling into turn number 1. Ray to the outside, Will Murdoch on the inside on the better tyres. Ray, he tries to fish it round the outside. Will Murdoch with some exceptional defending, and now through the S's. Ray just needs to keep with the Alpine.
Yeah, he does indeed. Will Murdoch there, leading the way now. Ray there in second. He's still within a second, though, of him. We can calm down a little bit now after getting very, very excitable there. Frankie there in third. Devon there in fourth. Ricky there in fifth. Who knows? Ricky might still win this race, you know. I'm not going to put my money on it, but he could still do the job. The Italian on the back of the Brit once again. Here we go. Down in towards the kink of 10, and then into the left-hand return 11. Ray closes in on the back of Will. No EOS in effect. The Mercedes on the back of the Alpine. I think actually he's going to back off and maybe not go for this move. Do you know what? He's going to go around the outside of him. As soon as I say that, he goes right around the outside, and Ray on the inside line through turn number 12. Job done. Right through, and he's into the lead of the race once again. But this, who's this going to actually affect? Because Frankie there in third, Devon there in fourth, Ricky there in fifth, all in a set of mediums. Are Will's tyres beginning to hit the cliff?
Yeah, I think Will's tyres might be beginning to hit the cliff here, and that was a spanner in the works. Ray, the Italian stallion flew on the outside. Ray could still take 2 from 2, win this race. Will's tyres are starting to struggle. Frankie looking good on the back, but all these guys have no battery apart from Ricky. 27% ERS. Ray all out of shape out of the final corner. Is there one more story in this brilliant novel of a Miami Grand Prix? Will Murdoch, can he have something to say? Really late on the brakes on Ray. He's almost fought himself round. Will Murdoch recovers well as there's a half round at the back. Here comes Frankie on Will Murdoch. Will Murdoch might have just seen his Miami Grand Prix chances flash before his eyes. This is going to be an incredible run down towards turn 11. Anyone could still win this one.
Again, his braking points coming back to bite him on the bum right there. And Will Murdoch there in second. Frankie there in third. Will, I think, has just lost his chance of winning this race now. We know we've got the straight and we know we've got DRS here. But Ray, 6/10 of a second. Will's going to try and come back at him down the straight in towards turn number 11. He's on 2% of EOS, but he's got to watch behind because Frankie on 3% of EOS could look to the inside line. Not quite close enough. Nicosos, Ron, Newt all catching in the meantime as well. Through the final half a lap we go. Here in Miami, Ray leading the way, hanging on for absolute grim life. Through the chicane for the final time. The Italian has done a wondrous job. Will Murdoch, though, he's on fire. Is the defence terrified as Will Murdoch is there in second position? The Brit on the back of the Italian, running down the straight in towards turn 17 once again. It's a long run down in towards turn 17, but here comes Will Murdoch once again. I don't think he's going to be close enough unless he's king of the late breakers again. Ray to the inside line. Will Murdoch absolutely sends it. It's way too late. Ray's going to go to the inside line. Will Murdoch in the wall as well. I think he's got front wing damage. Ray around the final corner. It was too late from Will. Ray calmly wins the Miami Grand Prix. Frankie there in second. Will Murdoch there in third. He had to try something. That was just too audacious, to be honest, there from Will. He finishes there in third. Maybe still, with the stewarding decisions maybe coming into play, he might not even finish on the podium. Devon there in fourth. Ricky there in fifth. I'm speechless in terms of what we've seen there. Brilliant race. Yes, there was a bit of ping pong. Yes, the driving standards are a bit down. I'm sure they'll improve as the season goes on. Krypton around the final couple of corners to finish in 16th. And Tomasetto, he was in the top 10 at one point. Now down in 17th and maybe going for fastest lap attempt as well as he comes in towards the final couple of corners in the Williams. But it is Ray that has won. Frankie there in second. Will Murdoch there in third. We'll wait for Tomasetto to now come across the line. He will eventually get there to the line, and Tomasetto across the line takes his new fastest lap of the race as well, just a boot, as we will see the driver of the day awarded by the in-game fans, and that man is, when it comes up on my screen, Black Box, who gets driver of the day. How did Black Box get driver of the day? I do not know. I don't think he was in the top 10, but Cody's...
He finished 10th.
Oh, he finished 10th, so he does get a point. He does get a point.
He does get a point. He
Right.
does get a point. And I'm a brave man, but I wouldn't have gone for that Will move. That was very late. And to be fair, he's lucky that it was only his own front wing that he broke. But, you know, I gotta respect it. He did it for the spectacle. And he certainly put on one. But Ray, 2 from 2. Maybe he doesn't need his DRS from a teammate to win a Grand Prix. That was a cool, calm and collected drive at the end there. When Will was the one making the moves, Ray let him make his mistakes and ended up winning the Grand Prix.
He did end up winning the Grand Prix. Indeed, I thought we weren't going to get any podium interviews. I thought podium celebration even, but it is Ray leaping to the top step of the podium once again here. The Italian is 2 out of 2. Can anybody stop him in terms of this race? Certainly not in terms of this race, but maybe in the next few, Ray might come under some sort of pressure. He handled things very well, considering his teammate was obviously taken out as a result of disqualifications, as a result, obviously, of giving slipstream last week. That is how you really fight back at your critics, and Ray takes the race win. He does it out on track, and that's what we like to see. People doing it out on track, fairly and squarely. Probably one of the cleanest guys in the top 3 there as well, and Ray takes, once again, the win. And we'll run you through the full grid order, and it's Ray who wins. Frankie there in second, 12th on the grid up to second. How did he not get driver of the day? I do not know. Will Murdoch there in third, Devon there in fourth, Ricky there in fifth. I think the changes of positions could come there from third, fourth and fifth, potentially. Nicole Sus there in sixth, Ron in seventh, now up there in eighth, Nuth there in ninth, Blackbox there in the top 10, and Stefano in 11th, Jake Marsh there in 12th, Aries, Firefox and Mateus in the top 15. Krypton, Tomasetto all finished. Axie Retard, I think, into the pit lane on the final few laps there, and Jackson and Rocker, FVR, not their day at all. 3 of their drivers all DNFing out of the race. I'm sure they will come back better next week, of course. But Ray takes the win, Frankie second, Will Murdoch in third. Should we try and get the top 3 in?
We will try. We were not lucky last week, and it ended up being a podcast episode with myself and James. But we'll try and get them in. Some driver reaction we can run through quickly. Krypton says it was his worst experience playing a video game ever. Oraka is looking for who dived at turn number 1. Devon says his pit stop messed me up. He did say something a bit worse, but we won't repeat that one on the stream. And Will is apologising to Nikosas for that spin. But yeah, that's what happened to Devon. He did lose a bit of time in the pits. His pit crew did not react in time. But yeah, it's an interesting end to a very interesting Grand Prix. I think the stewards may have something to say about the third, fourth, and fifth positions. I think Will may pick up a penalty for that Nikosas spin. But yeah, there was some bad races for people, some very positive races for people. And once again, I don't know how it wasn't the other Alfa Romeo driver of the day, Frankie, from 12th to 2nd. Job done.
Job done indeed, and of course Alfa Romeo, big boost in terms of their potential points haul as well, with Black Box there down in 10th position as well, so double point scoring position. Nuth, by the way, saying the audio bug was worse than usual. My game literally sounded like a helicopter. That's what we don't like to hear.
The audio bug is horrible. I had it on Sunday night with the F11 race, forgot what tier I was in, but yeah, it's horrible. You can't hear your engine. It is terrible, and Krypton confirming his was awful too. But we'll try and get the top 3 in for some post-race interviews, and we'll try and get them in for a quick chat, get their thoughts on that crazy Miami Grand Prix. Of course, it was the first ever time we're going to have 2 races in America. We go to the Circuit of the Americas later on in the season, and in real life it was only the second ever time that Formula 1 held 2 races in America. With the amount they love American races, it surprised me. Of course, there was one in 1984 in Dallas and Detroit back-to-back, and then one in Miami and COTA. But if COTA in PSGL is anything like that race, we're in for an absolute belter.
We are indeed, and if you want to catch more action, of course, PSGL F1 is currently live. There are other tiers also live, I believe, as well at this stage, and I'm just trying to find who they are, and F4 is live at the stage. F2 obviously is us, so don't tune out, and I think that is it. I can't see any more streams unless I'm...
That's it.
Yeah, that is it, unfortunately. So F1...
We're going to have Will with us as well.
Oh, fantastic.
Will Murdoch has agreed. And we'll get him in and see what he has to say to us. I believe he has to join the waiting room. and I'll try get him in quickly for that. But James, I don't think any of our predictions came true.
They didn't. They didn't. And do I want to predict another result again in
Hold on. I think I
F2?
may have said way to win the race. I'm gonna go back and watch that after, and I make sure I'm getting my fair dues for predicting that one correctly.
Let us know in the comment section if Mr. Evan Dalton was correct in terms of his prediction for P1. Don't think any of mine were actually near the top three, to be honest. A Rocker, I think, set the
No, I
tone.
said black box at one point, I think.
Yeah, I said black. Yeah, Black Box was up there. I mean, he finished in P10 in the end. He still drove, I think, well. Will's asking where is the waiting room. The waiting room is where it says waiting room. I wonder if he hasn't got the permission
I
to
don't
see
think
the room.
anyone has
Oh, there he is.
permissions, but I've got an invite there.
I'll drag him in.
Yeah, he's found it now. Will we? I think we'll bring him in. Every time I say will we, but here he is, Will Murdoch. Welcome, congratulations
Hello.
on the podium.
Thank you.
How did
I don't think it'll last, but you know.
Yeah, we don't really think so either, but it was an incredible drive, and you have a new nickname here in F2, Mr. Late of the Breakers. Talk us through that one.
Well, I survived the lap 1 chaos. Just went around the outside and just hoped for the best, and then just picked my way through the field. My pace seemed quite good. I was quite disappointed with quali. I sort of expected a bit more from it. Then I just picked my way through the field. I made a silly mistake at the end of sector 1 and one of the laps, and it just lost me the DRS to the two Mercedeses. Then pitted on mediums, had an all right medium stint, and then I caught up to the hard runners, and I just ended up getting rear wing damage from, I can't remember when it was, probably lap 18, I think it was, 17, 18. So that hampered me a bit. Probably just too eager to get through the field. And then I got through them, and then the safety car came out at the right time, just as I was going around the final corner. So made a quick decision to come in. Then I made some proper silly overtakes. Yeah, I just made I didn't have any reference points at all. So that just absolutely ruined me. So then I got my way up to second. Was trying to play it quite smart with Ray, but the tires just dropped off at the end, and I couldn't do anything. I think the safety car came out a lap or two later. I think I might have had the grip to maybe get the win on track, but it wasn't meant to be today.
Well, it was certainly some. I knew we were going to do it, James. I'm watching your camera waiting, and I'm like, yeah, we're going to talk at the same time. But there was some great moves. Were they intentional late moves, or was it just the no braking points? Because apart from the one maybe at the last corner, the rest of the moves were very, very impressive.
I know the one on the safety car restart, I was only meant to go past Kryptonite. I was only trying to take avoiding action on the other car that was in front of Kryptonite. I can't remember who it was, but I ended up keeping the position. But all the others were more or less just... I was running quite a higher downforce setup, which was helping me on the brake. So I think that might have had something to do with the grip that I had under braking and stuff like that. But a lot of them were meant to be done, I guess. But yeah, I think Miami is my best track. I was expecting a good result, but I didn't really know whether I was going to be top 10, top 5, or battling for the win. But I was at the front, luckily.
I think what made it even more impressive as well, that was your first race of the season as well. So you've got that rustiness off your back now. Looking ahead into Belgium next week, how do you think you're going to get on around there? Is it a track that you like?
I don't know. I haven't actually driven much on this game. I haven't driven Belgium at all. I haven't actually driven many tracks. So I don't know. From recent, well, not recent, from history in PSGL, I've had decent results there. But the PSGL grid is just like it's such a high standard nowadays. So I have no clue what to expect.
Yeah, well, Evan's an F11, so I think that's probably why you're an F2, to be honest now, Will. Obviously, F3 last season, you drove very well there, drove very well again in Miami. Who knows if you keep your podium or not? We might be interviewing you again next week. But, Will, go and enjoy your evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Will, for joining us.
Thank you. I'll speak to you in a bit.
No worries at all. And I think that rounds off our only interview that we're going to be doing tonight, which is a shame, but obviously we do appreciate the drivers giving a little bit of time from their lives and obviously giving us a big insight, honestly, into the race, what happened there. Will doesn't think he's going to keep the podium. We don't think he's going to keep the podium. You never know. We might be in for a shock next week. We might read out the stewards' findings and say, oh, well, he's kept the podium and he's finishing P3, and you never know. He might still win the race. Who knows?
Very true. May win the race. I don't think he is going to win the race. I don't think there's any hope he's going to keep the podium, but maybe we'll have to wait and see. But I still have the results on my screen. There's a couple of impressive performances. Ron from 15th on the grid into 7th. Impressive performance. Jake Marsh finished 12th in the end of that race after suffering with the audio glitches all Grand Prix. He says that's an impressive result in 12th from 17th on the grid. Firefox managed to recover to 14th. Seth's going to help him a bit, but his race was done before turn number 1, unfortunately. And then Krypton, unfortunately, with a disappointing result in 16th for Red Bull. And then there was the non-finishers of Rocca, Jax, and Axie, who finished 2 laps down. 3 FVR drivers for a grid that is majority FVR. When the esports teams were looking at it, FVR were like, yeah, we have a lot of drivers in F2. Not good results for them so far.
Definitely not, and hopefully FER will come on board in terms of their performances tomorrow night in the Shazoo Racing Championship, of course, which I'm also covering, so I just thought I'd throw in a little bit of a disclaimer there and maybe a bit of self-promotion. Yeah, maybe a bit of self-promotion there as well, going along. We will have a look, though, at the calendar. Speaking of self-promotion, we'll have a look at the calendar once again. Belgium, as we allude to next week, that's going to be on the 8th of August, and then we go to Mexico for round 4 on the 15th. Japan on the 22nd of August for round 5. Potentially might be changed, because Portimao is coming into the game tomorrow if you didn't know, so get your games updated if you are on F1. 29th of August, we go to Monza in the first of our Italian breaks, Italian visits, of course. Abu Dhabi there for round 7, then it's Brazil for round 8. Then we're on our only break week of the season, back to Imola on the 26th of September for round 9. United States, we go back across the pond to Austin, Texas on the 3rd of October. And then on the 10th of October, we go home, Evan. Well, my home anyways. It is Silverstone, of course, in Great Britain.
I'd be careful, Mr. James Head. I wouldn't say that too loudly, but Silverstone's a brilliant season finale. I think that's going to be an excellent race, because if there is still fighting for a championship, there's going to be a lot of overtakes in that one. Of course, Silverstone was a brilliant race in real life F1, and it should be a brilliant race here. But there's lots of great races on the calendar that you do not want to miss, folks. It is Spa next week, which is historically a very good race for PSGL. There's been a lot of crackers there over the years, and do make sure to check out all the other tiers at Belgium before us. Of course, PC on Wednesday and Thursday, and then we have the other PS tiers on Thursday and Sunday, and then of course it's us headline at the start of Monday, and then there is F1 currently going on at the minute, I believe. If you want to go check that out, I have no idea who's winning, but it is with Jess Games at 8 o'clock on Monday, so that is still in full swing.
It is indeed. And I'll update you actually. Lap 6 out of 29. Santeri's got a 2.7 second lead over Rowan Assicombe there in 3rd at this stage, and that is live currently, maybe with about a 10 or 20 second delay on the stream there. But that rounds us off very neatly, of course, tonight. Thank you to my lovely co-commentator, Mr. Evan Dalton. You can't see my hand on the right-hand side, but I am pointing that way. But it is Mr. Evan Dalton, of course, who's joined me in the commentary box, as always. And that rounds us off very neatly, of course, for tonight. So thank you so much for watching. We will leave you, of course, with our ending and our advert, of course, from GT Mega. And then our brand new outro will play you out as well. So thank you so much for watching. And until next week in Belgium, goodbye.
This broadcast was brought to you by GT Omega and Grid Rival, proudly supporting PSGL.